the thing is, I hear some girls. We had Tawny Jordan over the other day. Tawny Jordan's won several different pageants. She's the only woman to win the bikini competition at Rehab and Wet in the same year. And she's a world class ring girl. And she says guys don't even approach her. When she goes out, guys don't even approach her.
Dude, I get that a lot too. Yeah, it's like I don't know if men are afraid of me.
Of course they're afraid of you. I'm fucking afraid of you. I'm afraid of you now.
Timid.
We're friends and I'm fucking afraid of you.
Because you're beautiful.
Listen, I'm pretty sure I could beat you in a wrestling match, but I'm not completely sure. I'm not completely
Well,
sure.
that's also a function of scarcity too, because they're not used to being around. You know.
Yeah, I think though too, when you compose yourself in a certain manner and you're very composed while you're out, I think that men don't really know what to do. Whereas the, average female girl that's kind of more like, not really composed, not caring about her reputation or what other people think about her they're going to be more approachable. And guys are going to think it's easier to obviously go home with them. But a person like myself or anyone sitting at this table, like a man has to step up to be with us.
Oh, yeah.
You have to bring a lot to the table. You can't just walk in here and expect to go home with me. There's a lot that comes with it.
Okay, you're correct, but you also heard those numbers we said at the beginning of the show.
You're right, yeah.
So it what ends up happening is you end up being with a guy who has a lot to bring to the table, but he also brings his other girls with him. That's the issue. It's like one of these situations where maybe it's not you guys specifically. I'm sure none of you have ever been cheated on. But sometimes there are dudes in the city who will literally be everything you ever wanted, and they're also talking to other girls at the same time while you're at work.
Yeah.
When I first moved here to Vegas, my first experience dating a guy in Vegas, I went on 2 dates with him, and each time he brought a different girl.
And what did you know that was going to happen, or was this like an openly bisexual thing?
No, I asked him to please not bring someone else if he was trying to pursue me.
Yeah.
If he wanted to get to know me, then I would like to spend time together on our own. And then he brought another girl, and the second time she tried to fight me. That was just a different...
Natty, you got to send me who it is. Just text me who it is. I got to know who this is. Is guy in Vegas?
Yeah.
You got to tell me who this is. That's incredible.
Actually...
I'm sure I know. There's no chance I don't know who he is. Of course I know who he is.
So let me throw this, because I'm looking at the chat here, and I recognize you. Don't worry. So when we're talking about, like, do you have trouble with guys? Do you think that guys are intimidated by you, like they're fearful to come and approach you, or do you think that they're just simply say, "She's out of my league. There's no way. Forget it. There's no point in me doing it." Like they're trying to cut their losses. Do you think there's a fear factor or an intimidation factor, or do you think that it's more like it's just they already shoot themselves in the foot, like they already self-defeat before they even attempt?
Yeah, I think it's a fear factor, absolutely, and I think that it's that most men nowadays don't have their shit together. So why would they approach someone like me that looks like they have everything together? I really feel like that's what it is. I feel like it's like men just don't want to step up.
Do you think that they're like limiting themselves from like approaching you or actually having some sort of like even just having a conversation with you?
Yeah.
Do you encounter this too?
No, I mean, yeah, I do. Like, it's funny because I've like dated guys who like they're you're a cocktail waitress, so you probably get hit on all the time at work. I'm like, I actually don't. Like, even my own like clients, they're they're like, bring me girls. Like, they'll like talk and flirt a little bit, but nothing crazy. So, but as far as like that, I mean, I've had like guys come up and literally just say, "I'm not hitting on you. I'm just letting you know that I think you're very beautiful," and walk away. I'm like, okay, like,
Thank
so
you for the
I've
compliment.
so they'll make it very clear, I'm not hitting on you. So I don't know what that's about. Like,
yeah, they in person
so
hard for them.
What it's about is that they're hitting on you.
Okay. Well, I mean,
know, right?
They're hoping you'll go.
Yeah, they're hoping you go. Oh wait, no, come back. It's called. It's called. What's it called? Disqualification. Yeah, it's just.
It's anti-game.
It's anti-game.
Anti-game.
It's called a false disqualifier. Yeah, it's just game.
That's what's wild though. In person, they're all timid and afraid, but in your DMs, they all think they're a porn star.
Hey, I want to see Bob's and Vagine. I want to see Bob's and Vagine.
Behind the computer, they're wilding out. They'll say anything to you.
Do you want to do the sex? Do you want to do the sex? I want to see the Bob's and Vagine. Show me now.
Sex, yes.
I'll tell you.
Yes.
That's why I come from a background of working in wine and spirits. So
Yeah.
I was a art director, principal creative for import-export company. And so I would have to hire talent to come to promotional events and things like that. I was a guy that was actually picking out the girls, and then I had my select few that I knew were good for particular events. So if I was going to go do a show for like a I know Martini Fest or higher end, there were certain girls I would bring in for that because I knew they were approachable, and I knew that it was more than just like, I'm going to pour drinks for you. It was also having that kind of slightly flirty conversation with the people who were there, right? If I'm going to like a goth bar or something, like if you're going to a rock club, that's a different caliber of poor girl that you're going to have to be there. And so what I was noticing at these events is I found myself choosing the girls who had the personality factor that was sort of like made them approachable. Like they were good conversationalists. I knew they weren't going to get drunk while they were there too. But there's not just the beauty factor. It's like the girls could be so exceptionally attractive that they would be intimidating for the guys to even come up to whatever booth that we had for whatever drinks we were pouring. And so we would tend to pour less on those if the girls seemed like they were too over the top and they were too extreme. Was opposed to like you get a girl who's like an 8.5, like I'm in, on the 10 scale, and she could carry on a conversation. Then we would do way better with on that event as a result.
I'll tell you, as a manager at a strip club, one of the things I noticed, I couldn't believe, because girls would tell me how much they'd make because they'd tip out or whatever, and I couldn't believe, like it was never the hottest girls. The hottest girls were always super frustrated. They were always, and the guys were always like, I know I don't have any shot with this girl. And the girl who was like one rung down, who really knew how to make the guy think that he had a shot without acting slutty. Like acting super slutty in a strip club is actually a really short-term strategy, and it doesn't work super well. It's like keeping the chase going. And what were you gonna say something?
I'm a professional at that. Yeah, it's all hustle. It's all psychological too.
Yeah. So what those girls ended up making the most money. They were the ones that, and that, like you were saying before, like to the level that's unattainable. I know you guys from events that I threw. I went on your podcast, but I know you guys mainly through events that I threw. I can tell you, like Jordan, you would be intimidating for most guys to go up and talk to. You have these big fucking bright blue eyes, and you're built like a goddamn linebacker. Like you big old fake boobs, and you're built like you look like you kick somebody's ass. I'm saying this in a good way, in a Vegas bottle server kind of way. That's why I'm saying, right? And so that's the thing. Like it's kind of hard. And then the other thing, you were at my birthday last year. Remember how madness it was? It was like 50 of us. Then Bulgarian showed up and all that kind of stuff. Nobody was coming up to our table. Do you remember that? Like nobody was coming anywhere near us. Like they were intimidated by us.
Yeah. I mean, until Dan got there. And
then, I invited Dan. Yeah.
Well, until he got there, then there was
sucks all the oxygen out of
it. Do you remember that one dude throwing water on him? And then he threw Bulgarian takes the drink and he throws it up into the balcony. You remember that shit? That shit was crazy. That was a fucking crazy night, man. Shout out to Jason Strauss, man. He set that all up.
Anyways, I'm watching the chat here, and it's like everyone says it's not about fear, it's not about intimidation. They just don't think they have any shot with a top shelf girl, so they simply just don't do it. So it's like it's easy to characterize it in that sense because it's like then suddenly you seem brave, right? Well, I know better than to bother with that, so I'm just gonna I can't get with the 9s, so I'll stay with the 7s kind of thing. And so it's like it's league mentality is what I've written about it in the past. But for instance, like I met you as soon as you walked in, you're the first one to come in here, Jordan. And so like as soon as I'm talking to you, like I'm used to this because I have poor girl. I worked in the industry, right? But like we also have music in common, right? So we have like some sort of thing to talk about and everything. Yeah. It's not like so seriously. It's not intimidation as far as like the conversational side of things. I think it's guys who just simply they live in this scarcity mindset where it's like maybe if they had taken that shot, maybe if they had actually stopped believing in this league mentality, then they would be having these conversations. They might get a little bit further than they think they can.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really crazy. How many of you guys have been to one of my events? You haven't been to one yet. You never been to Babes?
No, I haven't. No, I haven't been to that one. But I feel like I've met you at an event. I don't know if that was like your event though. I don't remember. It's been a while.
You've been to Babes?
Yeah.
Okay. You've been to Babes? Okay, so you guys have been to Babes in Twilight. I have found that like a charity event or something like that, soup kitchen, of any kind of volunteer work is the easiest way to meet a girl who's out of your league, and there's no intimidation with talking to them. I think if you guys want to know, this is one of the key tenets we teach in Men of Action, is the idea in the event planning pillar, which is the 7th pillar, I think, of the program. When in that part, we go over exactly how to create these events that give value. Now, if I were like, hey guys, you want to go do a comp dinner at STK? The 4 of you have been like, fuck that. I've done comp dinners why do I need you? You fucking loser, cheap motherfucker. It's like, hey, I can get you on stage at XS. Steffi would just be like, get the fuck out of here. Get on stage at XS. I don't need to get Marshmallow just wrote me last night, bitch. I don't need you to get me on stage at XS because you guys live here, right? You understand when girls come and visit, I'm like, do you want to go on stage at Zook? They're like, fuck yes. But you guys would have no problem getting on stages.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be
Yeah.
any problem with you at all. And so that's not those kind of things. The promoter thing, incredible book. I highly recommend all of you read it. It's called Very Important People by Ashley Mears. She's a professor of sociology, or she's a doctor of sociology, and she went undercover as a model for 2 years in New York, just going to nightclubs every night. And she wrote exactly how everything worked. And there was stuff I didn't even know. Jason Strauss is mentioned often in the book. There are 2 Harvard case studies on Jason Strauss. I don't know if you know this.
Oh, I
No.
didn't know.
There's 2 Harvard case studies on him, and I'm reading them right now. He goes and speaks at Harvard regularly. He and Noah Tepperberg. And so this is a really, really awesome book. I don't agree with the interpretation, but the documentation is fantastic. And when you see this, the way that the people live, it's just very different. It's hard for a lot of people outside this realm to understand when there's a table full of atmosphere models. You know, you've atmosphere before, right?
Yeah.
Guys are looking at that and they're like, what is happening? Like, how are there this many beautiful women there? And then who's paying for it? And then they're like, this same thing happens for me. Every year for my birthday, it's at least like 50 girls. They'll come dressed in like a themed outfit. And guys are looking at us from other tables and they're like, is he a pimp? Like, what's happening there? I don't understand. They'll come and tap me on the shoulder like, hey man, what's going on? And they ask me these weird questions. I'm like, no, it's just my birthday and they want to hang out with me because I guess I'm not fucking weird like you. I don't know what happens. I don't have a bunch of pictures of my fucking creepy ass, whatever on my Instagram. I guess that's maybe why. But that's the thing that I found out. The events are what I found to be the key, the easiest way to find some level of common ground without the cold approach, because it's very difficult for a lot of people to be able to do that. Anyway, that's why I planned this whole program around events, because it made it a lot easier. This is why I would consider an event. There's 6 of us hanging out here, and you're drinking all that tequila. And no, wait, I'm just kidding. You guys are doing cocaine in the back. This is kind of
She does
fun
meal
kind of
prep.
event.
She's not drinking tonight.
No, she's getting
tonight.
This one's getting piss tested, so she's not doing anything. This one's getting piss tested.
I'll tell you, it's funny is that every time I used to think this way. I'm watching you guys in the chat. Trust me, I hear you. But like I used to think in terms of like
there are 1,000 people watching us live in the chat right now, guys. Yeah.
I was
Nice.
I sometimes I'll go to like Miami, or I'll go to like I'll go to Fort Lauderdale, and we'll be walking from a set to set, and beautiful yachts are like everywhere, like these beautiful boats are everywhere, and I would be sitting there and I'd be like, how do these guys afford these fucking yachts? I mean, they're just multi-million. There's, as far as the eye can see, but somebody does. Somebody owns that yacht. Somebody's paying for that slip. Somebody is paying for that actual, whether or not they're taking it out, often who even knows. But somebody owns that yacht. And so I was thinking about this in terms of like this limiting buffer like mentality. It kind of applies to a lot of other things as well, like approaching a beautiful woman. Like somebody's got to be with you guys. Who's it going to be, right? Is it going to be you, or is it going to be somebody who actually just took the chance to actually come and talk to you because they got over this this scarcity mentality to do so?
Yeah, the other thing, and I loved, I've heard several people talk about this, is the rich guys who have no game whatsoever in it, and it's like this idea that just being rich is enough.
Yeah,
right. That's also design. I'm sure you can talk about this often, where there's super wealthy guys. What's the highest men you've ever been about? What's the highest men you've ever done?
Like what they.
What's the highest spend that you've ever had? You personally?
Me personally, I don't know. Probably around like recently, maybe like 60K.
60K.
Yeah.
You've had have you had 100K at Wet? Was there any 100Ks at Wet the whole summer?
Oh yeah, not with me, but like with our like girls who are fucking monsters. Yeah, easily like every Saturday for sure.
There's one or two 100K.
Yep.
I went to Houston last week and they were like,
explain so the audience what that
$1,500 for
is.
a table. It's like it's $100,000 for a table.
yeah.
Go ahead. What was it? What is that
like buying a house.
What is the experience like for this guy
right?
who's spending $100,000 at a table?
Honestly, those girls are like on another level. Like I don't know what they'd probably just.
You're talking about with
literally-
upsells. The girls are
Yeah.
upselling them to 100K.
Yeah.
What is the guy's experience like? How would you describe it?
They're having a blast.
Yeah.
Like every time we go over there, they're having like presentations, like have a ton of girls like getting champagne showers. Like they're having a fucking blast over there. And the thing is too, they know that they're spending this, like, and we're also like really good with like making sure that, with signatures and everything. So, but yeah, they know what they're doing, and then they're having like the whole time, like we're up there, we're hanging out, and at Marquee, it's a little different because we're allowed to actually drink with them. And but at Wet, like we're not allowed to drink.
It's because Marquis not union. Is that right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Wet is union.
Okay, so and the other thing I was going to say is like, so we were always in Bungalow 1, where I would. So I was hosting the Playboy Yandy Summer Search at Wet Republic all summer.
Yeah.
So I would come in there Fridays, and Steph would be working some of those Fridays. I would have Bungalow 1. Bungalows 3, 4, and 5 would always be big spenders in there, and I would take those guys and make them judges in the bikini competition. That was one of the that was every week.
No idea.
So whoever the host manager was would tell me who it is. And I was like, yeah, for sure, we'll bring them in, and then we'll make them judges in the bikini competition. We would do that also as part of the experience. But yeah, dude, they're dumping bottles of champagne on each other. They're not even drinking all the alcohol. It's not really possible to drink all the alcohol. One of the reasons why atmosphere models were created was just so that they could drink the excess alcohol so that the guys would buy more champagne. There's some girls I know that are like they specialize in getting guys to buy more champagne. Like that's their only purpose when they go there is to do that.